Hi, and thank you for joining us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and consider other important aspects of working for yourself, being self-employed, running a small business. So today I'm going to talk about the new penalty system for VAT returns and payments. Before I do, if you could please take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll easily be able to refer back to this information if you should need to, as well as finding other information that we have available to support you in your self-employment on a whole host of relevant topics. So back then to the new VAT penalty system. So currently you will be aware that the system works on the basis where the first return you just get a surcharge notice with no actual penalty. The second return that's late, you then start receiving penalties which are charged on an increasing percentage of the VAT liability on the return that was late. So from the 1st of January, that is changing to a penalty points system. One of the benefits of this is that you will be able to see where you are with it in your online account. So in the previous system, it was very difficult to keep track. If you'd had a notice, you then had to keep a mental note or a manual record of how many quarters you had submitted on time to know whether you were out of the surcharge period or not. So basically, it's quite straightforward that depending on how often you have to submit your VAT returns, whether you're monthly, quarterly, annually, will give you a different level of points threshold. And then for every return that's late, you will receive 1 penalty point. Once you meet your penalty threshold, then you will be charged a standard £200 penalty. So if, for example, you submit your VAT returns quarterly, your points threshold will be 4. So therefore, the first, second and third late return, you will receive a penalty point, but the 4th one will mean that you've met the threshold and you will get a set £200 penalty. And then every subsequent late return will receive a £200 penalty. And much as there is now, there is the opportunity by submitting your returns on time for a period of compliance, as HMRC refer to it, then you will be able to reset your points and get out of that penalty system. So one of the impacts will be for those who have a low amount of VAT or repayment returns, that historically, because the penalty has been based on a percentage of the liability, it will be the same for everybody who is late going forward on the penalty system. So that's the actual returns being late, but what about the payments? So again, this will be changing somewhat. It will be based on a percentage similar to the previous system, but in a bid to encourage people to actually pay the VAT quicker or contact HMRC if they can't pay, then it will be based on the amount of time that it's been outstanding. So if your return is up to 15 days, if your payment is up to 15 days late, you won't receive a penalty. If it's between 16 and 30 days late, it will be 2% of what you owe on day 15. So of course, this is about encouraging people that if it's a case that you can't pay, and you're not going to phone up HMRC to make a payment plan, which would be the most sensible thing to do. At least if you pay some of the VAT, you'll have a lower penalty. So it's all about encouraging better behaviours with late payers. And then once it becomes over 30 days due, then the percentage will increase, and it will increase daily. And again, it's all about encouraging better behaviours, encouraging us to contact HMRC, and generally encouraging us to pay our VAT on time. If we can't, to at least pay what we can, and if and ideally to make a time to pay. So if you phone HMRC to agree a time to pay plan for your VAT, and that is agreed by HMRC, then you won't incur that penalty for the late payment. So of course, if they don't agree and you can't pay it, then you will still incur those charges. So again, in that scenario, the penalty system is all about encouraging us to pay what we can as quickly as we can. So just to recap, then the actual late returns will be a penalty system, whereby you'll have a threshold that's defined by your reporting frequency, and for each late return you will get a penalty point, and once you meet the threshold you will have a set £200 penalty. You will be able to see in your online account how many points you have, and if you are in a period of compliance, how long that has been in place for late payments. The penalties are geared for, firstly, to encourage us to contact HMRC to come up with a payment plan that's agreeable to them. And if that doesn't happen, or if the payment plan's not agreed by HMRC, then you will be charged a percentage of the liability, and that will increase over time. So it will no longer be a case of well, I've had that penalty, I've incurred that penalty, so I'm going to now concentrate on paying my next VAT bill. The penalty will keep increasing until that liability is dealt with. So as I mentioned, it's all about encouraging better behaviours and enabling HMRC to collect the VAT first, whilst giving people the opportunity with genuine difficulties to arrange time to pay plans if there's an issue, which would avoid a penalty. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this helps. I will, in the description, put the link to the full full detail on gov.uk, where you can read about that. But of course, the way to avoid the penalties is to make sure your returns are submitted on time, and that your payment is made on time, and that if you can't pay, you contact HMRC to make an arrangement for the payment. Thank you. Goodbye.